Hello everyone, welcome back to the White One Auto YouTube channel. And what we have in here at the shop today is a 2009 GMC Yukon Denali. Got told into us from another shop. What they were telling us is that, I guess they say the owner, I believe he drove through some heavy snow. Then the vehicle just started going haywire. It wouldn't, the speedometer would just cut out. Didn't seem like, I believe he said something with the transmission, but just pretty much had a bunch of electrical gremlins. So they brought it to the electrical experts here, and we're gonna check this thing out and see what's going on. But so there's one thing I had noticed when I was pulling this thing in, when I would just sit in here, I would notice something, and we gotta get the video to pick this thing up. So listen now. So let the dinging go. So you see we got a few lights coming on. Where's the button? Check engine light, suspension light. But there's a clicking noise. To me, sounds like a relay's not latching or something like that you could hear. I noticed it lower in the car, like down here. We'll see if the video picks it up. It even does it with the vehicle not running. So let me see. So I hope it's picking that up. So to me, that sounds like a relay, and it looks like somebody's been down here messing around, because you can see that fuse there is damaged. I checked it. It still got continuity going through it, but we need to plug the scanner up and pull codes to see what kind of codes we have. So you can also hear something else running. Is there something in the glove box? It sounds like the blower. So let's pull codes. Just think of GMC. Do auto. Let's let this go. Okay, so that is bad and good, because our scanner is not automatically reading the VIN. So we know we get that thing from the BCM. And I believe on this thing, our BCM is down here underneath this knee bolster. So I don't know if it's that fuse block clicking or the BCM, but, and also we got something in the heat just over here running. So let us go in and do a manual code scan. Let's see, does this thing read? Is it, oh, sorry, it's not a code scan. Okay. Let's see, does this thing start reading? Okay, so it's running. We will let this thing run. Okay, so we let this thing run. Let's see what our codes we have. There we go. Lost communication with BCM. Lost communication with BCM. Lost communication with BCM. So the BCM is not communicating with a lot of things, which is kind of what I suspected. We had something going on with the BCM here. So what my first step is going to be is I'm going to save this. Let me start this up to charge the battery up. But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pull up a wiring diagram for the BCM. We'll access it and check our powers and grounds at the BCM. If we have powers and grounds there, pretty much most likely got a bad BCM. Let me see, can we talk to it? Let's see, can we read data out of this? So we can't even talk to the BCM, yeah. So we're gonna check powers and grounds. Okay, so let us bring up this BCM wiring. So BCM, because there should be some fuses too. So let's see, we got BCM controls 1 and 3. Key on. So in the IP fuse box, you got a dim fuse, a 10 amp. Right there, that goes down. Does that go to our BCM? Yeah. So we got a 10 amp. It's gonna say dim fuse. We should have a direct BCM fuse. Here we go. So this is left side of the dash. So we got this stop, left turn, right turn cluster, 10 amp BCM fuse. That we got. This is under the hood. We got another 10 amp there. All those go to our body control module. And we got a ground too. So let's start by checking these fuses. And I'm going to check all of these. And then we will actually go to our BCM, because it could just be a blown fuse. And that would be great. Okay, so we checked all our fuses. All our BCM fuses were good, but we did find one blown fuse, and that is this fuse right here. See how no light up there, but lights up there? And that is fuse number 16. That says auxiliary power. I'm wondering if that's for the cigarette lighter or not, but we are gonna go ahead and replace that. So let me grab a fuse. Okay, so let us replace that. Pliers are a little too big to get in here. So we got that out. Hopefully, I'm wondering, it's blown. So let's stick our new one in here. See, does it blow? So we got that one in there. Now, see, is it? So it is working on both legs. The ticking is still continuing, but let's see, can we communicate with our BCM now? I think I tried to read brake pedal. It communicates now. Okay. So we need to see what that fuse does. But we still got that ticking. So let me... So what I'm going to do is I'm going to back all the way out of here and see, does our BCM communicate? Let me turn our lights off. Will it come on now? Here, let me just go to home. So we go here. Select GMC. Auto ID. See, will it communicate? And it does. So we're getting some headway here. Okay, so what I am going to do is, because we have the other codes, I am going to clear codes, clear all the codes, And then we'll come back in and run another code scan and then see what happens. So it's clearing. Okay, so we cleared codes. Let's exit out of there. Let's key the car off. So we'll key it back on, cut off our lights. Now we will run another code scan. So we'll let this run and see what it comes up with. So one other thing I wanted you to show. You see how those really dark black numbers on those 20 amp fuses? See how the rest of the fuses are white? So typically, little fuses are white. So this lets me know that these have been replaced before. So something's going on. Where is that one that I pulled out? Because it had black writing on it too. So that lets me know something is going on here. And we still got our ticking, which we shouldn't have. And this time it seemed to be putting up different codes. Like I thought I saw something for the engine, but we'll let this thing run and see. Okay, so this thing is done running its check here. Says, well, now we got engine codes. I don't think we had engine codes before. But let's see. Now let me save these. So we got crankshaft code, evap. Lost communication with ECM, TCM. Lost communication with body control. Okay. Let's talk to our BCM. Let's see what's going on here. So we don't have any communication. But we did just a moment ago. I think we were looking at brake pedal data. It's not communicating. So, did our fuse blow? Because all we did was put a fuse in and it was working. Or was that just a coincidence? So looks like that there may have been just a coincidence. So, we still can't, but we were communicating with our BCM. Huh, that's weird. Huh. Data. I think we want the brake pedal. Yeah. So, something's not right with our BCM here. So what I'm gonna do is pull this knee bolster down because I believe our BCM is back here. So that's what we need to get access to. I hope we can catch this on camera. So you see I wouldn't communicate. Now we're gonna go back in. We'll go back to brake pedal. Man, it was just communicating. I want to do it with it running because it was doing that then. So let me. So you see it's communicating now and it went away. So that's great. So we need to, I want to pull this truck up in the air and take a look underneath because I remember there was something about they drove through a bunch of snow or something. And maybe we got something going on with the wiring underneath because I believe this fuse box right here is for a lot of the chassis components. So let me get this stuff off the seat. We'll rack it up and get a look underneath. Okay, so I did see something that I don't like. So I hope it shows up. There is a module here. It's right here. See how rusty that is? think it's like the it's like the rear chassis module or something. Not 100% certain, but what I want to do is I want to unplug this and see, does our ticking go away, and do we have constant communication with our BCM, because this could be stopping the communication. So I'm going to put the phone down, disconnect this, and then let it back down and see what happens. Then we'll figure out exactly what this thing is, because it's not even mounted where it was before, and it's extremely rusty. Our grounds look okay over here. If we had a ground issue, I think we would constantly have no communication, but it's coming and going, so that's leading me to believe that we got some type of CAN issue. Okay, so we got our suspension control module unplugged. So what we're gonna see is, do we have better CAN communication now? Like, can we communicate all the time and not some of the time? So let's let the truck down and see. Okay, so now I hope the video is picking this up, because I'm super excited. Our ticking, our clicking has went away. So we have no more ticking there. Let's see how our communication is going. So let's back out of here. So we're still in BCM. I think we went to brake pedal before. We're getting it firsthand. Okay, I like that. So let me turn off. Let me clear codes. Clear codes, and then we'll see what all reoccurs. So I believe that's our rear suspension control module for stuff like the shocks and all of that. Was I just in BCM? Oh wait, I'm good. Let me exit all the way out. Clear all codes written by scan. So, like I was trying to say, so I believe that's our rear suspension control module for stuff like shocks and things like that. But it does communicate on CAN. So I don't think it's, well, I need to look it up before I start estimating. But if you do have something that's taking down CAN communication, it will affect other modules. It will affect their communication. So we'll key back on and do our code scan. It's running straight into that. So we'll let that run and see what happens. Okay, so we're finishing up. Says we're done. So let's see. So we got a crankshaft. So we got airbag. That communication with that. So that is, what do they actually call that? The vehicle dynamic control module. So that's it. So start up and run and everything. Here, so let me make sure we can fully communicate with our BCM. Oh, I backed out too much. Where's our BCM? I don't want to see codes. I want to see communication. That's what lets me know. So we're in there. Inputs. Okay, so what I'm gonna let this be known to our customer, that this thing right here, we need to get a new one of these. We also had that blown fuse. We'll see if he wants to take a look at that to see. Hold on, wait, no. I want to see what that powers up. So I believe that was fuse number, oh, it was a 20 amp. We still got that cover off. We do. Fuse number 16. So 16 auxiliary power, that 20 amp. So let me see what that runs. Close this out. Okay, so this is our auxiliary power fuse. We'll see all of what it powers up. So it gives power to, whoa, was too high. So we come out of here, it goes to the IP power outlet. Oh, so it's like the cigarette lighter. So that's all for the cigarette lighters. That's what that is for. The well, I shouldn't call them cigarette lighter. The power outputs. It's like where you plug in your phone charger and things. That's what they go to. So that makes sense as to why it was blown. Yeah, so that's where they go there. Yeah, so we need to find that rear suspension control module and put one of those in, and then we can go from there. I want to show you something here. So we go to suspension. So what we're using is Mitchell, well, shop key, Mitchell on demand. So what we got right here, we're in rear suspension. So this is our module. It's our electronic suspension control module. And it does communicate on high-speed CAN. So if this thing is giving problems, it will affect other things because it does communicate on high-speed CAN. So that is good to know. So it seems like that is what was causing us our BCM issues with the power and that clicking and everything. So we need to get one of those and plug it in and program it if it needs to be, and then retest. Okay, so I talked to our customer and explained to him about what was going on with the rear suspension control module. And then he mentioned to me, he said another issue that he had was that the transmission wasn't shifting correctly. And so we need to verify that, because initially my instructions were talk to the other mechanic that recommended to bring the vehicle here. And when I spoke with him, he didn't tell me about the transmission not shifting. He just mentioned, dash lights like cutting in and out. So what we need to do is we're gonna leave that rear suspension module unplugged, and we're gonna get this thing off the hoist, and I'm gonna take it for a drive and make sure that it does shift, because there's no point in, like, this module here is like $800 for a new one. There's no point in putting this in here if this thing does have a bad transmission. The owner also recommends, so I guess he does some of his own work too, and he's been kind of putting this thing back together. He mentioned that it does throw those, the evap and the crank sensor codes, and he knows about the oil leaks, so he's not really concerned with that. That's something that he can take care of, but he just needs the expert electrical diagnosis done, which is fine with me too. I mean, I can fix the whole thing or just fix the hard part, or whatever. I mean, as long as you're paying the price, that's all I care. So let's get this thing off of the hoist and let's take it for a drive and see how it shifts. And we also want to let this thing warm up. So this is another couple points. So when you're checking out a transmission, I recommend you drive it cold to see how it shifts when it's cold, and you let it fully warm up to see how it shifts after you put some miles on the thing. Because something could shift horribly when it's cold and shift okay when it's hot, or something could shift okay when it's cold and shift horribly when it's hot. Both of them need to be repaired, but you want to try to use the thing in the same use that the customer uses it. So what you're fixing is fixing the customer's problem. So let's get to it. Okay, so we are on the expressway. We're doing about 55 RPMs, a little bit below 1500. So the transmission is shifting fine. Coolant temperatures at 210, but we only been driving about 2 or 3 miles. So we want to get this thing a little bit further out and then just make sure that it stays shifting. And then we'll verify that concern for our customer. Okay, so we're actually on a different part of the freeway now where the speed limit is 70. And you see where our RPM's at. We got to slow down because we got a slower driver up front. But even at 70 miles an hour, I mean, this thing's accelerating fine. So at 70, we're at about 1600 RPMs. Let's speed up a little bit more. Well, we got to slow down, but heat is working. I mean, this thing is driving pretty okay for what it is. You know, 188,000 miles on it. Yeah, it is what it is. So on our Denali here, I was able to talk to the customer. I explained to him, I said, hey man, this thing is shifting fine. Cluster isn't blinking out. It was all due to this culprit right here disrupting CAN communication. So he asked me what I thought my recommendation was, and really to just keep it straightforward, the shape that this truck is in, I mean, this module alone is $859.80. I wouldn't recommend putting that type of money for this repair on this truck. I mean, the truck needs some front end work. The rear shocks are not working. It's got oil leaks. It's got something going on with the crank sensor, an evap. I mean, I think it would be a better use of money putting it in those areas first and then just not fixing this for right now. Now, that's up to the customer to decide, and he has chosen that that's what he wants to do. So as long as this thing doesn't disrupt CAN communication, and it won't do that if it's not plugged in. So that's where we're at right there. So I hope everybody was able to learn something more about CAN communication, and you can see just how important it is, and also about how when vehicles get a little bit of age on them, how that age affects these aging computers. That you can see this thing is just a complete rusted mess. So yeah, I mean, this was a good one for me. I appreciate the other mechanics sending it to me. I can't understand how this would stump some people, especially because I believe we were able to catch it on video where it communicated and where it not communicating. So that is it's definitely confusing sometimes, like when you get something intermittent happening like that. And just by God's grace alone, you know, I've had plenty of experience with these, and I've learned a lot of hard, costly lessons diagnosing CAN communication issues. And although we didn't use a lot of tools, we do have a lot of other tools that we could have broke out. We could have broke out the lab scope, a couple of different scanners, our meter. All we really used was just a Solus Pro, which is still my go-to. I think I got that thing updated up to 2015 or 17, and I really like that scan tool. It's nice and simple, but I think for anything newer than 15, I'm using like the Triton or an All-Tail or a Launch or something else like that. Yeah, but for these older vehicles, which can be really tricky when you get CAN communication issues, or vehicles that have lots of aftermarket equipment that sometimes reads into those CAN area net to the CAN lines as well, it can really cause you some issues. So yeah, I'm happy with this. I liked it. This here was fun for me. This is the type of diagnosing I really like to do, you know?